Okay, so today we're installing the APR boost gauge. We got this used off of the internet and had it sent over to us, and it comes with instructions you can find online. So the first thing we're going to do is take the engine cover off, which basically just pops off. As you can see, there's little rubber tabs that clip in. Look at that. And then the intake, this is an aftermarket APR carbon fiber intake. There's one screw on the driver's side that you have to undo, and then there's the hose clamp, and then it just kind of sits down in a rubber grommet, so we're going to pop that out of there. So we're going to warm up the intake manifold a little bit with a heat gun because the car had a bit of time to cool down. And we actually have to use a center punch that comes with the kit and punch a hole right in this part here, this port. And then we're going to plug the boost tap right into there. You show the center punch to the camera so you can see what it looks like. You can get it out. So there it is, the center punch. Make sure you use this one that comes with the kit. So it doesn't really call for this in instructions, but we're putting a little bit of thread sealant on just to make sure that this gets a good seal. We don't have any boost leaks in the future. Yeah, so we're basically just sort of twisting it in. It's got rubber O-rings, make sure those are in place. And once we have it in place, and then it'll tighten down and snug itself into place. Alright, so we hooked up the hose to that boost tap and crimped down the clamp with a pair of channel locks. And then we're just trying to figure out right now where we want to mount this thing on the firewall. Alright, so we got it all plugged in. So there's your boost tap there. We got the line running around here. We were going to run it on this coolant line here, but if it gets hot, it'll damage the hose potentially. So we stuck it under here. It's kind of hard to see. And then it goes right up in here to the converter here. And now we're going to run the wiring to the dash. Now we got to take the battery out, so we're going to wait on the intake. And basically what it is a 13mm bolt here. And then it looks like there's two 10mm bolts to undo the terminations on the battery, and then we're going to yank it out of there. So just a little tip here, make sure you put your seat back before you disconnect the battery. That way you give yourself some room for working underneath the dash. And what we're doing now is we're trying to get in. There's a grommet on the firewall. We got to get in and look at that and see how we can feed the harness through there. We just pulled out this little panel from underneath the dash. It's not even really made of plastic. It's kind of like a sound deadening material. And there was a T20 Torx at the front, and then it just clipped into the back, so you just undo that bolt and pop it straight out. So what we did is we used a very small razor blade, and there's a main harness right here going through the firewall. It's really hard to see, but we sliced a small hole in the grommet, and then he poked his finger through. And once we saw that, we were able to pass the wiring harness through, and you just got to move some of this insulating material out of the way so you can actually see it coming through. And just pull very slowly and make sure you don't hack any wires with the razor blade. And there it is. It's a white connector with gray, purple, black wire on it. Alright, so we got this in place. We got our wire going through the firewall. Here it is. The wire loom on it. We're just going to zip tie this in place. First step is to remove the side panel, so you just pop it up with a flat screwdriver and pull it out. There you go. Now we got to figure out how to get this vent out of there so you can put the gauge in there. So through this side panel, you can push your fingers around the back and push the vent right out. And there you have it, it's out. So on the back of the vent here, we popped it out of the dash. There's a bunch of little tabs all the way around. Here's one there. One there. Just pry them gently with your fingers and pull it out a little bit and make sure you don't break any of them off. And then you're left with this. Okay, so you have to take these vent grills out of this piece here, and there's 4 tabs they want you to push down on to release it. The best way we found to do it was just to squeeze it like this, and when you do that, it just basically pops out, and then you can take it out. Just get someone to help you with that. So we're just putting the vent tube back in, pulling the black wire out, black connector I should say, and you plug it in the gauge and just rest it in. So that we need to be. And then your harness in here, this purple, gray, and black hooks up to the one that you put through the firewall. I don't know if I can do this with one hand or not. That hooks up there, and then we got to figure out where these other 2 connectors go. Alright, so we're just carefully putting our gauge in and trying to get the faceplate to click back in. Just be careful you don't break any of the tabs. So there's a cool little trick here on how to remove your headlight switch, because you need to hook up your dimmer harness to that. So what you do is you put it to off, and then you push in and turn it towards auto. And what that does is it draws in these little keys here on the side, and then you can pull it straight out, and then just carefully disconnect your harness, and that's where we're going to tap in to our harness that came with the gauge. Oh, she's working. Because your battery.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Try your dimmer. Your dimmer switch there on the side. Oh, it's all working. Oh, and we're just going to put the intake back on too while we're at it. Hooks in there. And there's a screw on the other side. And yeah, it's pretty well good to go.